ancient Sumerian accounts of the Great Flood, gods left Earth to be safe in the heavens. Now, this is exactly what the ancient texts of ancient Greece say, because of the fact that the supposedly Olympian gods were Atlanteans extraterrestrial, that they left in order to save themselves in this manner. Ancient Sumerian accounts of the Great Flood speak of a time when gods, quote unquote, came down from heaven creating the first cities on earth, but these same gods left Earth to be safe in the heavens before the Great Flood swiped across the planet. While there are many accounts of ancient prehistoric floods, the earliest flood legends in world mythology actually originates in one of the most enigmatic, mysterious ancient civilizations to inhabit our planet, the Sumerians. The account of the Great Flood, according to the ancient Sumerian legend, date back to about 200 BC, to a time when gods left Earth to be safe in the heavens. And many of the ancient Sumerian clay tablets providing credible stories that are mainly considered as legends or myths, simply because we are unaware of their true meaning and we can't comprehend something that makes our mind wander into the unknown. Texts found in ancient Sumerian tablets illustrate impressive stories of how humans came into existence, our origins, and the incredible interference of gods in a way we cannot possibly imagine. Now, I have a playlist of the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth the Atlantean, who tells us that they had incredible technology, that they were misusing this technology. He says it was a matter of time before divine intervention would have put the end to the Atlanteans. And that's exactly what happened. But he says a lot of Atlanteans left the area around Egypt to go to various other locations, setting up cities there. Now, ancient gods, according to here, An and Enlil, Enki, and Ninhursanga, created the black-headed people while also creating comfortable conditions for animals to live and procreate. Then the kingship, quote, descends from heaven, end quote, and the first ancient cities are founded: Eridu, Bad Tibira, Larak, Sippar, and Shuruppak. The Sumerians were the first people who started building actual cities, organized using actual city grids like we see in modern-day cities around the world. They invented sewer systems. They invented cobblestones frequently used in the pavements of early streets. They were also taught in agriculture, but most importantly, they were the first civilization that invented the first known writing system and using the cuneiform script on clay tablets. They were one of the most advanced civilizations of ancient peoples. History tells us many interesting facts and stories about the Sumerians, and even today archaeologists and historians still do not have a complete picture that could tell everything about the people that once inhabited the region of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Quote, 1,200 years had not yet passed when the land extended and the peoples multiplied. The land was bellowed like a bull. The god got disturbed with their uproar, and Lil heard their noise and addressed the great gods. The noise of mankind has become too intense for me. With their uproar, I am deprived of sleep, cut off supplies for the peoples. Let there be a scarcity of planet life to satisfy their hunger. Adad, another custodian, should withhold his rain, and below the flood, the regular flooding of the land which made it fertile, should not come up from the abyss. Let the wind blow and parch the ground. Let the clouds thicken but not release a downpour. Let the fields diminish their yield. There must be no rejoicing among them. This is what William Bramley from The Gods of Eden wrote. Were gods angry with humans? Why is that, quote-unquote, gods or God, dependent on which story of the flood you read, show ruthless behavior towards mankind, and what do all of the myths have in common? Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. According to writings on ancient Assyrian tablet, we understand the following. Command that there be a plague, let Namtar diminish their noise, let disease, sickness, plague, pestilence blow upon them like a tornado. They commanded, and there was plague, Namtar diminished their noise, disease, sickness, plague, pestilence blew upon them like a tornado. This is from William Bramley, The Gods of Eden. Ancient Sumerian tablets interestingly mentioned that just before the great flood swept across Earth, the gods, quote-unquote, left our planet to be safe in the heavens, returning only after the end of the great deluge. But why is that some parts of the stories are plausible while other parts of it, like when gods flew to the heavens, are considered improbable? And again, this is what is written in the ancient Greek texts concerning the quote-unquote gods of Olympus, who were extraterrestrial Atlanteans, that they left in order to avoid the flood, and then they returned. Now, going back to this, interestingly, the story of Noah, the most popular story of the flood probably, illustrates similar stories as those seen in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which predates the Bible. According to the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enki, the creator god of man, approached a mortal named Utnapishtim and spoke to him, revealing the plans of gods, quote-unquote, giving him plans on how to build a boat and how to survive the wrath that the gods would set upon earth. Once the flood has swept across the planet, fulfilling the wrath of the gods, quote-unquote, Utnapishtim sent 3 birds to find land. After Utnapishtim discovered land and set foot on it, he offered sacrifice to the gods, after which the gods allowed him to live. But is it possible that the stories about great floods caused by the wrath of the god or gods were not a myth? And what if accounts of ancient cultures are in fact true? What if gods, quote-unquote, did in fact exist on earth, and what if they did travel to the heavens just before the flood? Well, according to Robert Ballard, one of the best-known underwater archaeologists who in 1985 used a robotic submersible with a remote-controlled camera, found the famous shipwreck of the Titanic. The Great Flood did in fact happen in the distant past. Ballard believes that some 12,000 years ago, much of the Earth's surface was covered in ice. We're talking about the Clovis culture here, the Younger Dryas era. Ballard said, "Where I live in Connecticut was ice a mile above my house, all the way back to the North Pole, about 15 million kilometers. That's a big ice cube." This is what he said in an interview with ABC News. He said, "But then it started to melt. We're talking about the floods of our living history." He added, according to Ballard, and after the water from the glaciers started melting, it rushed into the world's ocean, causing huge catastrophic flood around the world. He said, "The question is, was there a mother of all floods?" Ballard said. A controversial theory proposed by Columbia University scientists claimed there was a giant flood in the distant past in the region of the Black Sea. According to researchers, the now salty Black Sea was once an isolated freshwater lake which was surrounded by huge areas of farmland. That is until it was flooded by a huge wall of water coming from the rising Mediterranean Sea. Scientists estimate that the force of the water was in fact 200 times stronger than that of the Niagara Falls. The giant wall of water swept away everything that it encountered in its path, creating total destruction and chaos in the region, changing the geography forever. What if the tales written by the ancient Sumerians are correct, and also, of course, the ancient Greeks, authentic and of actual historical value? Is it possible, like ancient clay tablets suggest, that quote-unquote gods did in fact descend from the heavens, creating the first cities on earth, and is it possible that these same gods escaped to the heavens before the Great Flood? The question that inspires debate is, in ancient Sumerian texts can we identify the difference between myth and reality, and what kind of reality is accepted by mainstream scholars today? It seems that the ancient clay tablets of ancient Sumer have incredibly valuable historical stories that have been ignored for decades by mainstream scholars. This is Unbended Reality. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.